Good morning, Facebook fans. Good
Good
morning. Good
morning.
morning, Valerie.
Good morning.
It's so good to see you this morning.
I know it's been a couple of weeks, huh?
It has. I miss you terribly when I'm trying to do this all by myself.
I know. And everybody, I'm sure, is confused when they don't see me like looking at the screen and moving stuff around, looking down at my phone and I'm trying to get it all in.
I agree. I've the last 2 weeks have been the shortest cup of Joe on record. Because I say what I have to say and then I get off and I'm done and share links with everybody. I don't know, we're in believe it or not, the second week of March. And this morning, after sitting at my computer and trying to navigate some things that have been challenging me, I just decided I'm done with these first world problems and I'm going to buy a farm, raise goats and emus, and be done with the whole thing.
I know. Sometimes I just think that if I just turned off social media and packed up my stuff and moved to a deserted beach somewhere, I might catch up on sleep.
Oh yeah, definitely that. Definitely that. What's funny is we say that, and if we actually did disconnect,
I know
people would miss us, but that would go away. That would diminish pretty quickly. It's not that nobody would ever not miss us, but I'm ready. I just need a big lottery win. That's all I need is one big lottery win, and I'm on that island that Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman went to after they got out of Shawshank prison. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna go. Zanawatu or something like that.
Oh, funny. You are so funny. Yeah, we wouldn't know what to do if we didn't show up every day to help people, though.
Oh, you are a liar. I know what I would do. Well, I don't know exactly what I would do, but I know I would relish in the idea of not having to do anything.
Oh, you are funny.
Although, I did try that once, and yeah, that's why I'm here.
I was gonna say, I know the true story.
Yeah, that was a lesson. I got to think. I was talking to somebody last week that's 76, I think they said, and still working, still loving it, still going strong. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll feel that way still in another 16 years, but I have to imagine that at some point.
Yeah. Well,
You finish this sentence. Old entrepreneurs never die. They just fill in the blank.
You want me to fill in the blank?
Well, I think that's a question for everybody today.
Oh, yeah.
Fill in the blank. Old entrepreneurs never die. They just something.
I was going to say consult, but I don't know if that's the right word, but mentor.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that they continue to be. I mean, look at Neil Constantino. Yep. I mean, he's I knew at one time how old he was. He told me, but he's still trying to start a business, and he's been retired twice already, but from the Air Force and then from airlines, I believe, and now he's still trying to start businesses.
Yeah, I know. Plural. I know. Neil is one of those that will never be will be that old entrepreneur never dies.
Yes, he's always which is amazing. He's got more energy than of course, actually I haven't seen him since before COVID because of the lack of activity. So hopefully he'll come to Bunker Labs Tampa chapter is having a Bunker Connect on March 25th from 10 to 11:30 at the Center Club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. Bunker Connect replaced what we used to call Bunker Brew. So it's more focused on purposeful networking instead of just showing up, listening to somebody talk, having a couple of beers, and walking away with business cards that you'll probably throw in the top drawer of your desk. So yeah, really excited. We're going to be featuring a panelist on franchising. Yeah, which we don't often get actual cohort members in Action Zone that are interested in a franchise, but we get a lot of franchise questions, right? You know, just the various intricacies of that. And so Paul Huszar, who we all know is with Vetcor Services, he's one of the owners, and they franchised this year or during 2020. And then Chris Brito, who is the franchisee of Chick-fil-A by the football stadium. And then Jenny Sutton, who is franchise matchmaker, going to come and talk about all that. So, and as a matter of fact, I think Maxine's going to come talk about Action Zone there.
Awesome.
So Maxine, she's one of our newest members of our team.
Yep, a previous cohort member, and a successful entrepreneur in her own right, with a lot of fingers in a lot of pots, and has a beautiful singing voice. So if she could just sing about Action Zone, maybe we should have her. Maybe we should have her come up with an Action Zone jingle.
Oh, maybe. We'll have to see. I don't
See, folks, this is how this happens. Valerie and I have a conversation, and one of us has a big light bulb that comes up on the top of our head, and the other one says, "I have a great idea." And then the screen goes blank because the other one doesn't want to hear it right then.
That's so funny. And you know, it's so, like, our relationship is amazing. If anybody knows, I love and adore Rosie. I did not see what you titled the Zoom this morning.
You never do until after.
Right, until afterwards. But today, sometimes I have issues when it sharing it on my page, my personal Facebook page, for people to come join us. And I saw on here, after weeks of waiting, my battle, #battle. And so when I shared it, I put me and my battle. I didn't even know that you'd said that. That's how in tune we are of each other.
Yes. That's both a blessing and a curse.
Especially for everybody else that tries to or has graciously become part of our team over the years, has had to deal with. And George Zwerko, of course, the longest, since he's one of the co-founders of Action Zone. Poor George has had to deal with us for our birthday's coming up.
It is.
Yay, 3 years.
It is actually on March 6th, which would have been Saturday, was the day that I started working on perfecting the business model we had talked about, and started preparing the 1023 for our nonprofit.
Yeah, I still remember.
That was a long process. Yeah, that was crazy time.
Yeah, you were like, should I think I'm going to start a nonprofit. And I'm like, do it. Why hold
and
back?
Now, 3 years later, people come to us and say, I think I'm going to start a nonprofit. And we go, well, wait, hold up.
Let's talk about this first.
Yeah. And that's important because, you know, first of all, and we talked about this at the cohort on Saturday, the January, the spring cohort for Action Zone. We talked about business structure and things like that. And when we get to the part about talking about nonprofits, particularly in the service personnel, whether it's military or frontline workers or police officers or other law enforcement officers, those people tend to, because they're already in a giving field, they already have that giving gene that compels them in what they do in life. They are particularly wanting to start a nonprofit, and it's very hard to dissuade someone to step back and think about what they're doing first and look at alternate ways of executing the service that they want to try to bring to the world, to help other people. I read, I'm so glad you said this. I have another book for the list. The Go-Giver.
Whoops. Hold on, let me mute that. Go ahead.
If you have not read The Go-Giver, let me tell you. It says the subtitle is A Little Story About a Powerful Business Idea. You can see it's not very big. I bought it when I was walking through Barnes and Noble or Books a Million one day, and of course I gravitate to the business section. I'd love to read like a Stevie Seamy romance novel or a mystery, but I keep gravitating to the business. And this just jumped. It was the only copy of it, and it jumped off the shelf at me, which I always think, okay, I'm really supposed to read this. And coincidentally, and unfortunately, that very night, I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning and could not get back to sleep. So I picked up this book and I thought, well, reading puts me to sleep because I'm old and that's what we do. And I finished it in 2 hours. I could not put
Oh
it
my
down.
goodness.
Could not put it down. And now I've gone back and I've got some notes in here. I've got some pages highlighted in here. It is a great story about how to accelerate your business by changing your perspective. And it goes kind of along the lines of StoryBrand that we've talked about before by, is it Donald Miller, that talks about your customer is the superhero and you're the person supporting that superhero. This is kind of the same, it's along the similar thought process. But between this, the Go Giver, and Who Owns the Ice House, these two have got to be on everybody's bookshelf because this was just fabulous.
Well, that's so random because Mike Stedman from Bunker Labs just did a podcast interview with that author.
Donald Miller?
No, for Go Giver.
No way. Bob Berg and John David Mann who did that. I wish I'd seen that.
Yeah, I was trying to give me after this, I'll drop the link in this chat because I can't find it right now. But yeah, and then we'll drop the book link down there.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, it was really good read. Very good read. And of course, when I finished reading it at 3 or 3:30 in the morning, the first thing I did is I got on my email and I emailed Russ because, you know, Russ has all those books behind him and he's read everything. And I said, I'm sure you must have read this, but if you have not, you really have to. And of course, the email I got back much sooner in the morning than I would have anticipated, although I know Russ and I are both early risers, so we're always up on the computer pretty quick. He said, of course, he had read it. And then he gave me the name of another one that I have yet to pick up that he said is really good to read alongside this one. So I'll save that one for the next week. And I'll have to go back and get that one and read it. This was for somebody like you and I who are givers and those first responders, it just is kind of a validation that this is the way we do business. You know, it's not about us, it's about what we can help other people do. But for people who are struggling with their business persona, that must read.
I'll have to check it out.
And apparently there's a whole cult following with this too.
yeah, it is a big it's a big deal. So I'm really excited that just really raw, you picked it up and read it and you gave such a rave review of it. So that's great. Going back to, you know, givers who sometimes or a lot of times think they want to start a nonprofit to continue to give about, you know, to what cause they're passionate about. Whenever I share my story, you know, I've got Luminary Global, we provide emergency product solutions. Our customers are, you know, law enforcement, first responders, military, and citizen heroes. And then I talk about Action Zone and then Bunker Labs. They're like, oh, you just like to help people. And the reason why I say that is because I always tried to start with Luminary Global because that's my bread and butter, right? That's my husband and I, that's our business. And that's a for-profit company that provides helping service through products. So you don't always have to start a nonprofit to be a giver, I guess is my point.
That's so true. That when I started the notary business, it was for personal income, personal enrichment. And I love doing it. It's just an activity that fits with my personality profile, as you often point out. You know, everything I color in between the lines, and I know how to cross my T's and dot my I's. And that is that the left side of my brain, because the right side of my brain is the creative side. I don't remember. So I get both
Yeah.
I'm definitely multiple personalities here. But it didn't take me long to realize that there were so many people entering this industry. First of all, there were so many people entering this industry that had never started a business before. So they were becoming very much like those home party salespeople. They would, start off with all their family and friends and the people they knew and getting lots of sales, and that would spur them on. But when it came actual time to figure out how to function as a business, like when one line of revenue got slow and the other line of revenue was starting that path, they just didn't know what to do. They didn't understand. I saw crazy in October and November of last year. A lot of these notaries were posting on our Facebook groups going, was I supposed to save money out for taxes? I thought that I was a public servant, I didn't have to pay taxes on this money. Or should I have been saving my receipts for my paper all year long? And they just didn't understand the concept. Or I didn't get any calls this week. What do I do? How do I make money? Well, that's part of building that model of your business up front. So that really spurred me on into thinking that I could help them in that regard. I may not be a notary expert. I'm learning after almost a year, but I can help these people start a business. And then it occurred to me about the military spouses or anybody that has experienced relocation, and to be able to help them with a business that they can move from state to state was really exciting for me. So yeah, it doesn't have to be a nonprofit. You can help people
Right.
in a number of different ways.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
We should
I
have,
actually pitched. Oh, go ahead.
no, go
You
ahead.
should have what?
I said we should have a
I
big
say
guest
I
on our show.
pitched your notary. I pitched your notary classes to somebody that I met over the weekend at the beach.
Yeah, that's pretty
I was like,
cool.
"You
That's
need
pretty
to-"
cool.
I was like, you need to do this. So
Yeah,
anyway, that's
it's really
fun.
enjoyable. It is true that when you love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, because
Yeah.
between our activities at Action Zone and our individual businesses, I think we both feel that way. It's just, I mean, it is a lot of hard work, and some days are really
Mhm.
bad and you just want to go raise goats and emus. But but most of the time you pop back up because something good happens.
Yes, yeah. We've had a lot of good stuff happen. Speaking of which, good stuff, in our birthday, we have another cohort opportunity. I know, I'm sure you've mentioned that in the last 2 weeks since I wasn't here, but very excited to have our first summer cohort, right?
Yep.
We
Yep.
do one
That'd be
in
really
spring and
exciting.
fall. Yeah, so hopefully people are applying for that. I don't really, because we don't have kids that are the schools are doing like traditional years, right? They're getting out in May-ish.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
don't have young kids either.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know what the schools are doing.
I'll have to ask some of my friends that have school age kids around here because, well, anyway, my point was, if for most of the classes are in the summer, you don't have an excuse.
Mhm.
Can't use your kids as an excuse.
That's true. That's true. Except that they have to keep them occupied. And if they're still being homeschooled, that is a challenge. But it
Yeah.
is only just Saturday mornings.
Yeah.
And yeah, however much effort you put into it in between the classes will dictate how fast you launch or grow that business that you're working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put the link in the last couple of weeks, and we have a deadline approaching in just, I think, 2 more weeks to apply for the program. And we'll put the registration link here. It's so great to be able to offer another cohort, because like you said, we
Yeah.
typically only offer one in the fall and in the spring. And to be able to get some more people in. And I keep saying this, if the pandemic did one of two things, either affected your income because you were
Mhm.
furloughed or permanently laid off, or you had reduced hours, or if it just made you think that you'd like to have more control over your own destiny, then now is the perfect time. It is not because it's a pandemic, I don't want to start a business. Now is the
Mhm.
perfect time to learn how to do that, because whether you launch today or next week or in 2021 or in 2025, you're
Yeah.
going to learn what you need to know to get there. And then the most amazing thing that happens is once you know this stuff, once you've been exposed to the way businesses are built and the way you can create one, then opportunities, sometimes not necessarily to your benefit, just are everywhere, right?
Yeah, right.
You just see opportunity.
Well, and you may not be immediate. So back in the early days when I was helping veterans with entrepreneurship with Hillsborough Community College, so this was back in 2016. Anyway, there is a veteran that came in there and he was like, I don't want to start my own business. Uh, someone just told me I needed to come here because you were a good person to know. And he had some very, challenging circumstances. At that time, he was homeless. He was estranged from his family. He didn't have a really good exit from the military, so working with him on all those issues. But anyway, then he kind of disappeared. I hadn't seen him for a while. And then after we had started Action Zone, I think this was in 2019 because it was obviously pre-pandemic. He had became sober. He found, he's no longer homeless. He was reconnected with his family. He was in school to be an electrician, and then all of a sudden had an opportunity to potentially either start this business or purchase a business or come on as a partner for electrician business. And he reached out to me and he was just like, I need to talk to you about entrepreneurship. So I mean, like all of those many years and all of those transitions in his life comes full circle. And it's like, Valerie, let's talk entrepreneurship. So you just never know.
Yeah, you
Never
don't.
know.
You don't. That
Mhm.
reminds me that I don't know if you saw a couple of the different Facebook posts, and I know you've been crazy busy like the rest of us, but Amanda,
Yeah.
Amanda,
Amanda Milligan, if everybody knows, like
Amanda.
she's one of our
Yep.
faves.
Yep. And I am trying to convince her to come in to this summer cohort, because what she got in 2015 or 2016, whatever, she was in that very first cohort.
Yeah.
And what she can gain from it today would just be incredible. We've had several people in the Action Zone program that have already been through
Veteran Florida.
either
Yeah.
the Veterans Florida program at another institution, whether it's HCC or FGCU down in the South, or over on in Orlando at UCF.
Mhm.
They get something new when they, first of all, when they come to us, they get something new
Yeah.
because we're not like everybody else.
Right.
But secondly, it just gives them, broadens what they're thinking about and
Yeah.
how they think about it. And so professional development is
Yeah.
is
And
critical.
uh she's so entrepreneurial and she's been trying to chase a business idea for a long time. So I'm hoping now that she's done with her MBA that she will.
Yep, I do too. I do too. I
I
think
hate
it
to
might
cut
overlap.
Yeah,
You gotta
I'm really
go.
sorry. I have to cut this short because well, the audience doesn't know, but as you know, we are an Airbnb because our house is finally getting taken care of from hurricane in November, and under the house is open. So Samson and his basset hound nose can get under the house. So Jeremy just came in and was just like, Samson's under the house. I can't find him.
Well, that's more important. You know how I feel about our dog babies.
I know because he is an escape artist. So
So we'll put the links in the chat for the
yes.
registration, and you all know how to reach us, and have a great week.
Okay, you too. Bye. Wish me luck. Find my
Good
dog.
luck. Find him.